So this moment in time,
We're choo-chooing along.
we're choo-chooing along on the
Choo-chooing.
true train
Choo-choo train.
here with Apple Core, and you're listening to a Bon Bon's Nook podcast. And
Yeah.
so,
in the Nook.
yeah,
In the Nook.
Apple Core is a good friend of mine, and he's joining us today after this epic ice storm here in Eugene. What was your experience?
My personal experience was a little milder than a lot of people. I had prepared a bit beforehand, and I didn't end up going to work at all, trying to get out there at all. So I didn't brave any of it much. If anything, if I did brave it, it was just to go out into the woods and go sledding on the ice.
Oh, you did some sledding?
Yeah, a little bit. We didn't have any sleds, so we used the tops of those like tub lids for storage. And used some of those
That worked pretty well.
to slide on. It was perfect, especially since it was just all ice. So you didn't have to like make too much of a mark to do it. And so yeah, we had a nice couple of winter adventures. Just like out in the woods, we were doing that. And there's also just across the street, there was this parking lot who has a big driveway up a hill. We just go down that too.
Nice.
So yeah, it was good. So so that was fun. I didn't lose any power up until near the end, like the last couple day or so. And so it was only without power for a brief time before I could actually get out and get to a place that did have power. And I still don't have any internet right now. That's the other thing. I had a line like snap on us when a limb fell.
Yeah.
And otherwise, I was watching movies a lot. I had my partner over at one point. She spent the night for a few nights. And I read a lot. I read so much.
Anything particularly interesting you were reading?
I had just before this hit, I had just picked up John Steinbeck's The Grapes of Wrath, which is a pretty big book. It's like a 500-page novel.
Wow.
Like in pretty big pages and densely words and all that. So, and I probably got through about 3/4 of it at this point. Or maybe a bit more into it since then. But I read like just a lot. I just had lots of time to sit down, do nothing, and just read a book like this. And I've been liking it. I've been really, really liking him. I've been on a little bit of a kick of his anyway. I've been reading other novels by him, Cannery Row, and Winter Over Discontent. What was the first one? Oh, I read his first one, which was a pirate historical fiction on Roberts. Morgan. That's the Henry Morgan. Henry Morgan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, but yeah, Grapes of Wrath. It's been really wonderful. It's been a pretty amazing story, and there's lots of cultural context that he adds in really fun and interesting ways. It's not dry very much. It's pretty. It's just fascinating to see what was happening. Think of like a modern day, within your own country, refugee crisis happening because of the Dust Bowl and the Depression era, and just people can't live where they were and just have to go somewhere else.
Forced
and wherever
migration.
people were going, they were just like, they were promised this one wonderland in California, and so they all 300,000 of them swarmed there. And
wow, what a trip!
Yeah, it was a trip. It was a big old trip. So that it's been really interesting to see all the dynamics play out, and there's power dynamics, there's money dynamics, there's cultural dynamics, there's people just like really honest people who just want work and just want to make a living and have maybe a little land and be able to feed their family, and like good ethics and good people, but like just can't get it together. And there's so it's been very fascinating and just enlightening to be reading about this as like a 20th century crisis that kind of not minor, but it was a major crisis, but it was a localized thing. It was within our own country at the time. So I think that's part of it. What really fascinates me is how recent and how close to home it was.
The cultural relevance of it.
Exactly.
Yeah, sounds strong. Well, that's interesting.
So yeah,
So
so I dived deep into that book.
okay,
I'm still reading it, so don't no spoils.
okay,
But yeah, it was pretty comfortable on the whole. I'm a pretty much of a homebody in some ways
uh-huh.
anyway. I'm history of introversion and you know, wasn't like completely alone either. I had roommates around and we were getting through it together, and so was everyone else in this town too. Um, yeah,
Yeah, it really was bonding for a lot of people on a lot of levels, and a lot of displaced friends and family staying with other
yeah,
people they normally wouldn't be staying with. So it's creating all these situations of closeness and bonding and sharing, and yeah, like you said, getting through it together.
yeah. There's some mutual aid for sure.
Yeah.
Being um coming up through the cracks again, where all of a sudden, I think this was also like the first time I had spoken to my neighbors who were pretty to themselves, but
Uh-huh.
having big old branches land near our cars. Both, oh no,
That'll bring people
each
together.
exactly we each had our turn with that, and um, at one point I saw him dragging a big old branch along, and it's like, yep, that happened to you. And then later on, he saw me doing the same thing exactly. Yeah. Um,
Wow. Yeah,
um,
that's
it's
wild.
been, I've experienced ice storms before too. I come from Illinois, and I haven't. They've been more of a recent phenomenon with probably with accelerated by global warming and stuff like that too. But um, and so I've seen them and I've experienced them, but for whatever reason, this one felt like a bigger one, and and I mainly see that just because of all of the tree debris I've been seeing around town.
Yeah,
There's so much
I
tree debris
know.
here.
It's so sad. I feel so,
Oh yeah, it's
so much
heartbreaking.
care for the trees, and then to see like just all this devastation. But then it's also just part of the natural process of the coming and
Well,
going
right.
of
Yeah.
life,
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
like
If this was an untamed forest, it would be like this kind of thing.
yeah,
It's partly what I'm thinking.
and nature's resilient. The trees are resilient. A lot of them, lost limbs. Some of them did fall over,
Yeah,
but a lot of the stuff I'm seeing is like giant limbs being
pretty
just
much. Yeah.
falling off of trees that are still standing. So at least the tree's still there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is quite a shock when you're like when I first ventured out and was driving around. I'm just like, moment after moment, just seeing all this devastation from the
Yeah.
trees. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Um Part of me wondered because of the differences I've seen in Illinois ice storms and from here. Was wondering, how long have you lived here? Just curious again.
I've been here since the end of 2018 in Eugene.
Okay, so like what is that?
So I'm yeah,
6 years?
five, I think that's
Yeah, it's 6 years.
6 years. Yeah, I'm
Almost.
going on six
Okay,
probably.
gotcha. Um, have you had anything like this since you've lived here?
No, but right before I moved here, like the year before, I think there was a very legendary Eugene ice storm that also had wind, and I was
Oh
so
yeah. Oh
grateful this
shoot.
time. And I wasn't here for it, but I heard about it, and it was terrible. And so it was worse probably than this one. This
Okay.
one was great in the way that it was just ice, no wind. It was,
Right.
if you noticed, it was still the whole
It
time.
was.
And I was just like, oh, I was looking at the forecast and tracking it and seeing the wind levels being low. So I was like, oh, God, thank goodness.
Hmm.
Because if we would have had wind in combination with all that, it
Yeah.
would have been a whole
It
different
just
story.
multiplied it even more.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just exponentially. Like, I don't even want to think about it.
Yeah. No.
So
Seriously.
scary.
Yeah. There's a sort of all of a sudden things around you become very very fragile when they
Yeah.
seem so sturdy too.
It was
Sometimes.
already so fragile that every little bit of precipitation that was dropping toward the end of it, I was noticing, falling sounds more and more and more. It kept adding up every little extra bit of weight on
Yeah.
everything that already had the ice.
The
It's
lot
just,
of like needles that broke the camel's back, or not
yeah,
needles. Hey,
a lot of straw.
pieces of straw or whatever it is.
Yeah,
The straw that broke the camel's back.
breaking
That's the one. I
many
was thinking of
tree
needle in a haystack.
camels' backs. Yeah, needle mace.
That's what I was going for.
Yeah.
But no, straw that broke the camel's back. That's what I mean. Yeah, a lot of that effect, big time. Just,
Yeah, so we made it through the ice storm, and people have been emerging, and there's been live music happening again here, and
yeah,
like it's been really beautiful that way with just this, resurgence of in-person events again after everyone was kind of holed up for like 3 or 4 days or however long that was, maybe a week. Depends on your situation, but
right.
yeah, people were alone for a long time, and then now we've had some great concerts happening, and things are Things are moving again.
Things are moving again.
Yeah.
They're still slowly engaging at times too, though.
Sure. There's
Like
delays.
I know that I've been aware that some of the music's happening. Actually, I did go to
the
a
Victor
show.
Wooten
I did see Victor Wooten. This is
at
true.
the Wow Hall.
At not the Well Hall.
Oh,
it was
no.
Shed at the Shed.
At the Shed. Oh,
Yes,
okay.
very
I
intimate
got it
theater.
flipped.
It was
Yeah.
very easy to see up close what he was doing too with all that. Too.
Oh,
It's
beautiful.
beautiful. And his brothers are very talented too. Like he did a great job in terms of just like balancing out his like fame and talent with the fact that his brothers are like also really really talented. And just like, you know, he was like at times still being just like a bassist and not like a fancy bassist,
able to fall back,
yeah,
right, and let other people
and
shine, and then
yeah,
share the spotlight and that sort of thing.
He had a great way of being able to do what was necessary in the moment. If the band was playing, he was probably not being too intricate, but he was doing a nice solid bass line still anyway. And then there were times where it's like, oh, it is my time to shine, and he would just like shine as well.
Nice.
You know, he knew his where he needed to be. And yeah,
that to me is the hallmark of a mature musician.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
You know, just not in the ego about it, and just able to really roll with and listen and have that dynamic.
I was talking to a friend of mine who is also a big Victor Wooten friend.
Okay.
A fan, I mean. He's not a friend of him.
Maybe a friend?
I think he could. No, he's a fan.
Okay.
But he had talked about how there have been shows where he's actually gotten like kids on stage and has put his bass guitar on them and just been like, oh, you know, put your finger here and hold that and just like fiddle around wherever, and the kid would just do whatever, and the band would just play. The band would just try their best to just play along and jam with this little kid who's never touched a bass before and maybe doesn't even know much about music, sort of thing, and it would work apparently. And this is something I have yet to hear myself. I was going to look it up soon, but
interesting.
That this is the sort of encouragement that Victor Wooten has too. I think he has this sort of way of holding himself and then also making it very accessible to others. He's not the sort of musician who's like gatekeep certain like level of difficulty. Like, you know, he's just like, play with whoever, play with who you can, when you can, as much as you can. And don't worry about being good. Just like, you know, if you absolutely just have to hold a root note, just do that. That's fine too. But like, you know, it doesn't matter what experience level you are. You can play with whoever.
I really like that, how accessible he's making it that way. Yeah, I feel like that's really important because there's so much intimidation around playing music, being, you know, calling yourself a musician, all those sorts of things have so much around them.
They can have a lot of weight for sure. Especially if you're trying to like make that your thing or make that like your living, or what you want to do with your life is be this musician type. Or at least that's like, especially I find that especially in younger people, that's not like a mindset that comes up is like, oh, what do you want to be when you grow up? Like, how many kids do you know who have at one point been like, I want to be a rock star? Come on.
Yeah.
I've been that before. Totally.
Yeah. You at one point you were like, I'm going to be a rock star.
I think so. Somewhere down the line, I at least had the thought at least passed through my head and sounded appealing at one point for sure. I think I pretty quickly got a hold of the idea that fame isn't all it's cracked up to be. And I mean, I kind of keep to myself anyway as a person. The fact that I'm showing up as Apple Core is a great little.
This is a great step.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Yeah, I'm so glad you were willing to come on here with me.
Yeah,
been wanting to have you on for a while. Yeah, and after this conversation, we're gonna play a little jam, improv, freestyle, creative silliness.
Exactly.
If you want to stick around for that, and you're okay with silly, we really have a lot.
Very silly here.
It's very seriously silly.
Very seriously, incredibly silly.
Yeah, that was so much fun.
With like on a scale of 1 to 5 on peak hyper, maybe like a 3 or a 4. We've tamed it down a little bit.
Yeah.
And
you mean as far as what we
the
kept?
Energy level?
Oh, the energy level. Yeah,
the zany level.
Well, it was my birthday.
It was your
literally
birthday.
My birthday.
It was your
birthday.
So
I had the birthday
birthday.
mojo, and then your birthday a couple days later.
It was. You're right. We were both in that. Yeah, exactly. The birthday swing of it, and we were just having a grand time. We were being
That was literally one of the most fun birthdays I've ever
Oh.
had. And because of that
Oh.
experience of having you over and doing that jam, because I was 100% in my creativity and improv magic. I was feeling it, and I was getting to play harmonica, like Foley, because I'm able to jam with you so well. We've played so many
Yeah, we
times.
have.
And
We know how to get loose with each other,
yeah,
you know?
yeah, your way of guitar just blends so well with what I'm able to do on the harmonica. And yeah, so it was super fun.
Yeah. It was fun for me too. I had a blast with it too. And I've always just loved improv as anyway. Like
Uh-huh.
both not even just musically, but like just like goofing around and being sort of random and making little scenes happen. And that's
Yeah,
always been sort of something that turns me on a bit. It's just
me
like,
too.
yeah.
What do you think it is about improv that's so magical for you?
I think because you don't necessarily know what's gonna come before it happens. All the time at least. Something just comes to you, and because you're in the moment, you gotta. There's a sort of quickness about it where you kind of had to be on your toes a little bit. Um, with all that, it can losing my tongue. Um, yeah, you don't really know what's coming, and so then it comes out, and you kind of can look at it afterward after you do it, and it's this constant reassessing and you're in the moment and watching and observing and playing with and interacting with and twisting things around as you go.
Yeah, so there's like
It's
an
this it's such a intensely creative process, and it's just it's the kind of process it is. It just makes you have to go with it, whatever it is you
you have
do.
to surrender to it,
Yes,
right?
exactly. That's a good way to
And
put it
what
too.
what you're
Yeah.
talking about is interesting because it's like a moment to moment improv buffer of awareness or something, awareness buffer
There,
that
yeah,
that
exactly.
you're
Right.
working with, like
Because your brain computes things that happened and spits out something else to do surrounding that works with it. Yeah, it's
I think what's so magical for me is that it all seems, or a lot of it seems to be coming from a place that we don't it's very mysterious and we don't really know how it comes from there. And then it comes through like the filters of our own experiences and perceptions and creativity.
right.
But it's coming from this source that is where all of the goods come from, as far as like when it's good music, good acting, good whatever. It's all coming from this kind of mysterious
Right.
source, and then we're filtering it through moment to moment based on our own experiences and our own ways of looking at the
It's a
world.
great way to put it. Um yeah, I think that sort of like realm of where that things come from, it feels very much like consciousness in general,
Yeah.
like where things are sort of like flashing in and out and are maybe a bit fuzzy or maybe they're clear and always changing and sort of hard to grasp onto and keep a hold of. You just kind of have to like in the moment like grab it and go and keep.
And you can't overthink it at
Oh
all.
gosh, no.
Like you
Yeah.
start to overthink it for one moment and you lose it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
It's gone. And then you have to be like, okay, I'm overthinking. Okay, I'm turning off the overthinking part of my brain. Now I'm back in it.
Or the part of your brain that's also critical.
Oh, the critical
The
part.
critical part
Yeah,
is
and
huge
that's
too.
tied to the
I
overthinking.
think that's something that we definitely didn't have when we were improvising with that jam session
Oh
later on.
yeah,
We
we
were
were
we were
not
we were just like all hold bars, whatever comes out sort of
yeah,
thing.
we were not being critical at all. And that's a wonderful thing. It's a wonderful state to be in for as long as you can. And later you might be critical of it, whatever. I did this recording and live stream of a concert at World Pies last night, and in the moment I was just having so much fun. I wasn't overthinking it, but then later on I was like, oh, I did this wrong and I did this wrong, and why didn't I do that setting? And there's so many critical components to when you're
So long
doing
as it's
live video.
afterward, that's one thing.
Yeah.
I think you can learn from that. That the whole process of like, oh, I did this wrong and this wrong and this wrong. So long as you're gentle with it, like,
Yeah, that's what I'm practicing, is being gentle on myself about it and being like, okay, this is all learning. The mistakes I made, most people aren't going to notice. It's more subtle,
yeah,
and
totally.
like it's just me hyper focusing on what I could have done better, which I guess is a good thing to do as long as you're gentle with yourself about it and you
Right.
don't get in those thought loops where it just takes over.
Yeah, exactly. And I have seen you in other realms where you think of things that you could have done better while you're in it.
Oh.
I've been there to witness that too.
Oh,
And
interesting.
it's so I'm kind of glad to hear that you instead just enjoyed it and did it,
I
and then
did.
afterward did that.
I did. So I was successful in
So
that. Yeah.
pats on the back to you for that.
Thank you for that reflection. Appreciate that. Oh, there's a nice little birdie out the window on the fallen
Oh,
tree.
that's right. Speaking of
Oh,
trees that are
oh
branches falling,
should we go into that?
yeah.
Okay.
If you want to go,
So here in the studio at Bon Bon's Nook in my cottage, the other day during the ice storm, my favorite oak tree slowly but surely fell right onto the top of the cottage. But it did so in such a way that it didn't damage the roof. Only like a gutter got ruined.
yeah,
And it's a big tree. You know,
it's a
you
big
saw it from
tree.
the outside, and it. I was standing right by the window, and the top of the tree, wrapped around the house, and the top of the tree came right up to the window and didn't break the window, but any more distance it could have. And I was standing there for it, and I was on the phone with a friend, and I just jumped back into the kitchen and was just like, "Whoa, I gotta go!" And then just like, you know, totally shell shocked from it. And then I calmed down and like, everything's fine. You're taken care of. The cottage is okay. Went outside, looked at it, was amazed to see that there was no roof damage and it didn't hit the power line. And it could have. It was like maybe a couple feet from the power
Oh
line.
gosh, it's perfect.
It's just perfect. It occurred to me, it's like this tree grew in such a way synchronistically that when it was going to fall in the future, it would fall perfectly over the structure of the house and not damage it. And I have a special relationship with this oak tree. It used to drop acorns in the summer that would be synchronistic to when I was here alone, and just, I would have some moment that I was thinking something, and then an acorn would drop right at that moment synchronistically and roll down the roof. And it sounded so funny and whimsical. And so this tree is like a little trickster tree or a big trickster tree. And so it makes sense that it would go out in this way where it like falls over perfectly and it's all scary and dramatic, but then it's like, hi, the top of it just came right up to the window to greet me.
Scared you.
Hi
You're
there.
okay.
It's okay. Just joking. You're okay. You're not
It's a
dying.
heck of a prank.
Yeah, heck of a prank to go out on, but I appreciate it, and I had a special relationship with it. So
Yeah, and I'm thoroughly impressed that the tree did not damage the roof either. Like you said, it's a big tree. I saw that and thought, oh my god, that could have been.
it could have been devastating.
It could have been exactly.
Leaking. It was raining at the time, so it could have been just instantly pouring water into here.
Yeah. Oh gosh, exactly. Yeah.
I was thinking about. I was like, oh my god, do I need to like protect my equipment and all this stuff I have in here? Just
Yeah. No, but exactly. It perfectly fine though. Yeah.
Yeah.
And which is good because I think that you have such an attachment and an emotional
My energy.
connection to this cottage.
Yeah.
And
this is my studio. This is where I have so much of my creativity focused.
yeah.
And I have so many dreams and ideas that I'm working on here with like video setups and podcasting and all this stuff that I'm doing. And so, yeah, it was a moment of like surrender though. I'm like, okay, well, I have to let it all go again.
Yeah.
If that's what's going to happen. But then I was like, okay, it's, you're taken care of. It's fine. So got through that.
Yeah.
Everyone's had very unique experiences through this ice storm here. And yeah, some harder than others. And
Yeah, for
it's
sure.
all relative, people are going through different struggles and hardships, and it's all just on a spectrum, like always. But yeah, now the sun's coming out. I see blue sky. Like we're definitely turning.
look at that
We've
blue
definitely
sky.
turned
You're
the
right.
corner. Everything's melted, and hopefully we don't have another one of those for a decade or so. Let's push that out into as far as we can. I'm sure it's inevitable we'll have another one at some point. But
That's the thing with ice storms in particular. They're such a big.
they are rare though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Getting more common though.
Oh,
I feel
that's
like.
true. Yeah.
They're getting more common.
Everything's speeding up and getting, more and more interesting that way. But
Like I don't remember ice storms when I was little. Do you remember that at all? You're older than me. You're like twice my age almost.
yeah, I don't really remember a lot of them.
Yeah.
So they are becoming more common, unfortunately. Yeah. It's just another one of the things happening, but we will persevere.
Yeah.
We will get through this, and we have. And I'm excited to talk more with you, Applecore, about your personal music journeys
Sure.
of creating music under your own. Yeah, like what are you working on right now? What are you excited about with your solo music
Yeah,
career?
let's see. I have recently mastered um, a song that is a polyamorous love song.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's a fun concept to work with. I'm still sort of exploring the idea of polyamory myself. I've studied a lot about it, but in terms I haven't really practiced it.
Hmm.
Um, which is multiple partners for those who don't know it. Um,
It's multiple partners,
it's
but everyone
that's very
knows what's
lightly put. Yeah.
everyone knows what's happening, so they
Yes.
call it like ethical non-monogamy,
That's a
right?
great. Yes.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah. It's a much better way to put it. You can just put it simply like just multiple partners.
Sounds like a
It
big
sounds
party.
yeah right. It's, like, oh, it's a bit more than that. But
We're
yeah. So ethical non-monogamy, where it has like all these systems in place, and people are talking a lot more about what's happening in relationships and with each other, and everything's on over the table. Nothing's happening behind people's backs, ideally, and yeah.
yeah.
Anyway, um, and a lot of these, a lot of love songs you hear, which are fairly monogamous, I think. Um, they are, especially when it comes to the fact that, gosh, there's so many that I can think that, at least in the process I had of like coming up with this idea to write this song, I was thinking of love songs and then trying to think of, okay, how can this be non-monogamous? And then all of a sudden they go, "You're the only one for me, baby," and I'm like,
Oh,
there it
there it
goes.
goes.
Exactly. Just so much of that like singularity of dedication that I just thought that was overplayed a bit, and decided to try writing a song that was it catered towards, it could be a song for monogamous people. The way that it was written,
But more open-ended.
bit more open ended.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty obvious that it is like about multiple loving relationships, but because of the language of it, it can be just like other people in life too. Because
Yeah.
that's kind of the idea too. Is that like I don't get stopped by the fact that someone really cool out there in the world is really cool and I'm friends with them, and my partner is wouldn't stop me because they were not someone I was like sexually or romantically attracted to. But all of a sudden I have these factors in play where I maybe am sexually or romantically attracted, and
Or maybe you just want to cuddle.
yeah, exactly. Gosh, I just
And
want to hug. And
yeah, I feel like the whole cuddling thing, if that became more acceptable and people weren't so threatened by it,
right.
that are in committed relationships, that just opens up so much possibility if you just say that's like the boundary even,
Yeah,
like
that's
because
wonderful.
then you can be exchanging energy in this nice cuddly safe way, and that's I've been understanding more of like why the cuddle puddles are a thing, like in the ecstatic
Sure.
dance community and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
like it's a good reason. It's actually, we need touch and affectionate bonding behavior with that you get from that kind of contact, and it's done in a safe way that you're not going to cross boundaries.
Right. Exactly. So, yeah. The language of the song is sort of open ended for that, and it's been so writing that was really cool. I've also discovered since then that there are other polyamorous love songs out there, which are really well written as well too. I think they're some of the, again, they're just like, because they have this intention behind them of being that way and being open ended. There's something a bit more whole about them in a way. They're not just, a lot of the love songs too. They're very passion driven and they're very male oriented. There's the male singer being like, "Ooh baby, ooh honey," it's like just beckoning and all that. It's not exclusively, of course, but
Yeah, it's funny.
but it's true. I mean, that's just also the music industry in general too. There's just a lot of men out there making music and getting paid for that, so, and therefore exposure and all that. But anyway, but where was I going with that? But yeah, so other polyamorous love songs are out there, and I had a lot of fun making this song. So, if I was playing it with I played it for Mason, and she liked it, and is doing the artwork for it. Actually,
Oh,
she's
wonderful.
going to be doing that, some watercolor cover
Wonderful.
art for the single of it, at least. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. So, and she described it as this like sort of epic piece. Whenever I break out any sort of like symphonic instruments, because a lot of the times I make music on my own, and so I'm using like computer software to add instruments instead of like having band members to do,
That's
do that.
right. Yeah, I
Yeah.
forget that you're a composer that way.
Yeah, I compose
It's
in that way. Yeah,
beautiful.
exactly.
Yeah.
So it sort of sounds like cinematic
Yeah.
though when I do that, which is not necessarily the intended effect, but like I just get down this rabbit hole sometimes where in my music making process and the music production process where I'm like, I just want to like, what would it sound like if I added strings to it? Oh, that's beautiful. And what if I added some nice percussive hits here and good, great.
Yeah.
So whatever reason they hit right.
So there's a satisfying thing about getting in there and going down the rabbit hole with like how you can tweak things and how you can add and
Yeah,
remove and
exactly. I feel like there's this song by itself, especially on a piano, just me and a piano, beautiful. Um, Me, piano, and a bass, and maybe just like some light percussion could be really cool too. I've thought about, am I doing too much? Am I doing not enough? And there's always a balance with that. And I've been experimenting with that a bit more and being a lot more intentional with how I'm songwriting. Because like I kind of have a love-hate relationship with the whole cinematic thing. It's big and it's maybe too big in a way for me. I think it still sounds good. I like it. I'm still releasing it like it is, and but I've also thought about if I'm gonna do this live, how would it be different, and maybe eventually like using a live recording of that as another sort of release, another version of it,
nice.
or doing like a going with like the Beatles route and doing a naked version of the album or something like that, like a naked version of
What's the naked version?
so the Beatles did a what's called a naked, what they called at least a naked version of Let It Be,
Okay.
the album Let It Be.
So it's more stripped
So
down.
it's stripped down. Yeah,
Doesn't have as much of the like production
exactly.
values.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, which George Martin's great. I love him. He's a genius of a man in my head. But and I think I like the original album Let It Be better personally. But I know there's people out there who actually prefer the more stripped down version just because it's just them.
I need to listen to side by side and see
Yeah,
what I think. Yeah.
totally.
Hmm. Yeah. What are some of your aspirations for where you're headed with your music? I know you had talked about finding some bandmates
Yeah,
to collaborate with.
I'm still looking for bandmates. Getting to a point soon, hopefully, that I have a bit more time for that as well.
Uh-huh.
I think that's been one of the main big things that's been limiting me is time on my hands. And yeah, I would like to have a band and be able to properly record some of these newer songs that I've had written for up to a few years at this point. Stuff like that's like stuff that I maybe have written even before I moved here, sort of thing. That's slowly coming along. There's so I have this whole list of like a pseudo album essentially that I want to record at some point and get nicely fleshed out. And the sound with that being different, it's gonna be a proper band, so it's gonna have like bass and drums, and I do love my horn sections. I like a single trumpet or a trombone or maybe a saxophone. I don't know if anything I've written so far is gonna have a saxophone, but flutes in there sometimes. I think I'm gonna try and move away from that whole symphonic sound that I've been having a bit. Maybe putting it in here and there, but on the whole, sort of laying back on that and getting just more people involved. That's the biggest aspiration. It's just like wanting more people to come in and help give these songs the life that they deserve.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to be on the lookout for compatible potential bandmates for
Yeah.
you because I know they're out there,
Oh, I know they're out there
especially
too.
in this area. There's so many musicians in Eugene.
I've got a roommate who he does play bass, and we've only just now gotten around to like just last night I was showing him a bass line to one of the songs I'd written, Life is a Gift.
Hmm.
And he was digging it. I could tell that he was digging it. was playing was playing it from memory even after I had left the room and all that good stuff. And
What are some of the lyrics to that?
um, the chorus is, "Life is a gift that just keeps on giving. The gifts are everywhere. They're here for me and you to share. Go find the gifts that make you keep on living. Leave what doesn't help behind. Make intention to be kind and share with others what you go and find." Oh my god, because I'm not singing it out.
Yeah.
What you go and find, the gift of a life that's even more aligned.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love your songwriting and how positive and uplifting and inspiring it always seems to be.
Yeah.
You just have a way with the words. With
This is what I hear. That I have that sort of uplifting tone. That's been a goal.
It's consistent.
Yeah. There was a point where I didn't always have that.
It depends
For
on where
sure.
you're at in your life.
Yeah.
Right? 'Cause
Exactly.
it's a reflection, reflection of where you're at.
Right. Exactly.
Any musician, if they're being authentic to where they're at in their life, it's going to come through that really strongly. So, yeah.
I find that songwriting is a big way for me to process things as well.
Absolutely.
It's a form of therapy in a way.
Nice.
And I think because it's so therapeutic, it has that sort of uplifting tone because I'm trying to get something out of it at this point. I've noticed that this has been the thing and have like very intentionally utilized that for specific things that I'm going through. And also I just like these days, especially like being, I don't know, just spreading a more positive message. I think that feels more important and more impactful to me. To just sort of be like blah out to the people and whatnot. There can be some medicine in that. There's if you're personally feeling in a blah state,
you're gonna resonate with.
You can resonate with that, and like, oh, someone else feels like that.
Right, but that's kind of the that's kind of the extent of it.
It is sort of the extent of it, and but to
or maybe there's more nuance there,
right? To realize that you're not alone in something is really powerful. I think that sort of can get you out of feeling hopeless about something, like especially something like with me. If you've heard my early stuff and it was angrier, or not angry, maybe just angstier, and then you have followed me along to where I am now. You maybe would see like, oh, he was in this state and I'm maybe in this state too. But he somehow has gotten out of that, or at least is showing that he's able to get out of it. So there's a way out.
There's huge medicine right there.
Yeah,
exactly. So if someone's feeling really bad, they can listen to one of your older songs, resonate with that, and then skip forward in time travel to current newer songs that are inspiring and uplifting, and there you go. It's a full package.
It's getting people to subscribe to the full package is going to be it's a whole thing, of course.
Oh, sure.
Too, because I think this too. Like I'm pretty.
Well, maybe. Oh, sorry.
Oh yeah, I think my genres are pretty diverse too. I don't necessarily like to keep myself locked in, and there are moments where I like to just like power it out a bit more. Like some of those more angstier songs, they're bangers. I like them. I really do still. I don't play them because I don't resonate with them as much, but the times that I do break them out, people are, I'm blown away. People are blown away, and feeling just about what happens with them, and
feeling that power coming through.
Yeah. It's interesting. I feel like people who are looking for the uplifting stuff, they're not gonna look towards the other stuff, and people who are looking towards the other stuff, then they're maybe not looking towards the uplifting stuff either. Like people kind of have a sort of a single-eyed view of that, and to connect it to maybe takes a bit more critical intention. It's a way to put it.
One idea I was thinking, this might be silly, but you could make some Spotify playlists that have a mix of the uplifting and the more angsty, and they could be titled like based on how you're feeling. You're feeling negative right now, listen to this one. If you're feeling positive, listen to this one. But then I'm going to give you contrast with toward the end of it, some of the more angsty stuff, so you can experience the contrast.
Oh gosh, ooh, the contrast of it.
Take people on a journey.
Got you. Interesting concept. I know. I did when I made this album called One Branch at a Time, back when I was in the Tree Climbers. Excuse that.
That's all part of it.
Had this mix. I was kind of in the transition between being a bit angsty and being a bit more uplifting and positive. Um, and so I had songs of both, and I had this idea of the album being an analogy to going through something like that, or I think as I put it in the description of the album, like climbing a tree. You kind of start at the base, and you're like, I'm at the bottom of this tree. I haven't climbed it yet. I don't know if I can do it. Oh my gosh, it's a tree. Oh God, maybe that's an
So
attitude. And
overwhelming.
then, as the album is called One Branch at a Time, you start climbing up song by song, and it starts getting more uplifting and more uplifting. And I think the second song is like, it's called Ye Shall Overcome, and that's a very uplifting song, but it's recognizing that like you're in the trenches, but you're gonna get through this. And so that's like the second song.
Beautiful.
And, it goes up from there and kind of climaxes at a very simple, goofy song about being in sort of it's a very spiritual, enlightened state song.
It's coming down to the cosmic giggle. It's underneath everything.
Kind of, yeah, totally.
I love that concept for an album. That's great.
Yeah,
With the tree, climbing the tree. Yeah, it's really nice.
It's never stated abruptly in the
Sure.
album. I think.
Yeah, and that's
But-
good that you don't
Yeah,
get literal with it, but just that that's behind
that's
it.
the feel with the album, though, for sure.
That's really nice.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I have much more uplifting stuff these days,
Mhm.
and intend to sort of keep it like that. There might be times where I'm maybe more subtly, maybe a bit more with intention, dive into some darker waters, but like I do that mostly these days with the intention of making light out of them, because in the darkness there is light, and in the light there is darkness too. There's a relationship, and I think you can draw out each one from each one. You can't know darkness without light, and in the light, the darkness sort of like teaches you how to be light in a way. It can be a really amazing teacher, have some really important lessons that you then use later on to create life in your own life.
I like that.
Yeah.
It's a wise perspective. You got so much wisdom for how young you are, Applecore.
Yeah, I just turned 28.
Yeah, I'm impressed.
I never know how to answer that statement. People say that sometimes.
Well, it's just something to receive and
Yeah,
appreciate about yourself. It's great.
It's hard to be like, thank you, I know.
Yeah.
Because I don't necessarily think that's always true, but it's I appreciate the compliment at least.
And we all have things that we're still working on. That's the whole part of this. Like,
absolutely,
no one is all wise in all ways if they're here on the planet in a body.
Yep.
I think there's probably other situations where beings are super wise,
no
but
body,
they're
no
probably
problem.
not in a body.
No body, no problem.
Nobody, no problem.
I ain't got nobody.
These bodies sure are limiting, but they sure are interesting and fun and beautiful also.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a real gift to be on the planet. As crazy as things are right now, it's still a major gift to be here because it's so freaking interesting. What's happening here? This is like where it's at in the universe right now, probably for novelty and interesting situations.
There's a cool scale that we have here too, where the size of us helps is that as well, where cosmically speaking we're kind of a speck, right? But we're also big enough to where we still have plenty of wonderful small intricate things to appreciate as well. We're sort of like in this weird, it kind of goes on almost forever small and almost forever big, but I feel like we have this, and we're maybe in the spectrum of such, we're still on the fairly small side, but there's a sort of humbleness in that, if you can tune into it, that is really enlivening. And there's lots of wonderful things here. The fact that we're perfect size to be gaping up at trees and not like towering above them so that they're like grass or anything like that.
Oh
right?
yeah, that's interesting perspective.
But we have grass for that. and if the trees were like that, we wouldn't have grass.
Yeah,
our grass would be like hard and sticky and tree-like and you.
Yeah,
And
interesting.
instead now we have grass, and it's softer and forgiving,
Ah,
and there's little ants that are friends there, stuff like that,
ah,
right? Yeah.
yeah,
Um, yeah. This is a really big dynamic world, and we have such an amazing potential as a lens in our minds to be able to experience it, and that's a wonderful gift to appreciate. Something I think appreciating being a human with a human body with human capabilities and potentials is a great thing to be appreciative of. Um it's the vessel in which your spiritual self resides in temporarily until it remembers that it's all part of the actual everything else too in the end.
yeah. I like this idea that we're all, sparks off of the original source, and then we're out gathering experience and perspective to bring back to that source,
Yeah.
that wholeness
Yes.
of
Yeah. We
the
are
one.
the source's observers,
Yeah,
and to be an observer, you kind of have to. You can't just be observing everything at once all the time. You have to sort of have an angle, a
narrow
viewpoint.
it down
Yeah.
through a lens.
Which has its drawbacks, because
It
then
does.
all of a sudden you're like, me,
Me. Yeah, the illusion,
them.
the illusion of separation is so strong that
Yeah.
we constantly forget and have the amnesia that there's actually only one here. Like I keep thinking that, like I'm in a sauna with some other people. I'm like, actually, there's only one here. That's a funny thing to think
You're
about.
just having a conversation with yourself, Sean.
Well, but it's myself, but then it's
But it's from
also
two different angles.
the oneness,
Yes,
the
of course.
source, and so
Yeah.
it's so much bigger than myself, but it is part of myself. Yeah,
It's sort of
so
both, and then at the same
such a
time, it's never not.
it's very
Or,
paradoxical. Yeah,
never not, never not. But yes, exactly. It's very
it's
paradoxical.
the
It's both and none and neither.
it's probably the biggest paradox that's going. It's right there.
Right.
You
And
know,
here we are.
here we are, and
Doing goofy stuff. And
we get to have these separate bodies, and we get to use these words to communicate our perspectives and what we're going through, and it's all very interesting, and it's all what's exciting for me is that it does really feel like a grand experiment, like humanity. The human experience is a big experiment, and nobody really knows where it's going, and that's what's exciting, because it's like we can't people claim to know where it's going and try to pin it down and all of this, but really there's no way anyone knows how it's going to what it's going to completely look like as it unfolds,
no, yeah,
moment to moment.
it's a big mystery at the end of the day, for sure. Um, and I think there's also something to be said about being able to look back at what's been, and appreciate that and learn from it, and like the history is almost like the catalog of what the experiment has already done and been.
Yes,
Think of it like that.
that's a good way to put it.
And is this like great little registry of ideas, and that you can either accept or reject whatever comes out of it. Stuff like pretty colors are great. We like that. That's an old idea. Flipping things that harm people, maybe not so great. We'll reject that. Nuances in that, of course. But yeah, I think being able to have history is beautiful too, and being able to go back and remember and learn in that way is pivotal to being able to steer the experiment too, because that's what we're doing too. At the end of the day, is where by doing whatever it is we're doing, we're steering a grand experiment, both within our own lives, just like as who we are as people, but as a grander motion of it all too. We are like this little nudge in the direction that is like the the trajectory. We're like the trajectory is like the sum of it is going one way. We are just a little nudge that tries to make it go in whatever way we choose. And yeah, just by being ourselves and with our influence, and that's like a moment by moment thing.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
I like that. So to end this podcast session, first I want to ask you, would you like to do a part 2 like within the next month maybe?
Possibly. I'd consider it.
You'd consider it.
I'd consider it.
So we have to decide now because I'm going to put it in the title
What?
whether this is part 1 or if this is not going to have a part. Do you want to do a part 2? We don't have to. You can come on like a year from now.
This is pressure. Whew.
Well, it's all about figuring out the title.
This has been fun. This has been really enjoyable. I have to admit.
Well, it's Bonbons, Nook. Of course, it's gonna be fun.
Yes,
we got
true.
in some really interesting territory here. This has been a lot of fun.
Yeah,
I knew it would be. I mean,
yeah, we'll say it this way: it's likely.
It's likely.
You know,
okay.
on tape, on recording, it's likely.
Okay, so I'll decide later whether I'm going to put the part 1 on the title or not. I kind of like it because then people later on, if they find the podcast, and they're going back in the catalog, they can see, oh, this is actually part 3 or part 2. I'm going to start with part 1 of this.
Sure.
It makes it easier to find, but it's fine. Yeah. We don't have to decide.
It could be like in the title, it could be like returning guest.
Oh, that's a nice way to do it. We'll do that for yours. Returning guest Apple Core here on the Bonbons Nook podcast.
Bonbons Nook.
Yeah, I like the way you say it.
It's almost British.
Maybe you can do my intro.
Bonbons Nook.
Could you say like you're listening to Bonbons Nook?
You're listening to Bonbons Nook.
No, more with the accent though.
I thought I was.
No, more with the whimsy, like in the Bonbons Nook.
Oh, okay. You're listening to Bonbons Nook.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you, Apple Core, for the voiceover work. I'll issue a check to you later for that.
Wow.
Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
It's been so fun. And I actually have a few ending questions that I'm starting to ask all guests.
Okay.
And this is actually from Noah Lampert and the Synchronicity podcast. He started doing this, and I was really inspired by it. And in my last podcast with Haley Loran, I actually misrepresented that because I did this with her, and I said, this was from Ramin Nazar's podcast. I get them flipped. So,
okay.
So giving the proper credit, Noah Lampert, Synchronicity. He does this at the end. It's really fun. What is your favorite color?
It's green.
Nice.
But like a greenish with like some blue in it.
It's a loaded question.
It is a loaded question. I say green. There's so many green.
Some people take a while to answer it.
I have that as a pocket answer. Green.
Green. Okay. And what's your favorite animal?
Oh man, no.
And it's just, it doesn't have to be the favorite. What's one favorite animal that you enjoy? It doesn't have to be the top number one. It could be.
I love cats. Cats are beautiful and cuddly. And
that was the favorite one on the last podcast.
Oh my God, really?
That was Haley's. Yeah. Another musician. You're the second musician on the podcast. She was the first one that I ever interviewed on this episode 4. You're episode 5.
There's so many amazing animals out there. I just want to say that for the animals out there who are listening. You're probably all pretty amazing.
Sweet animals. I love deer. That's my favorite animal.
That's a good one.
Yeah, I just saw one laying down. It was so peaceful earlier today. Like, I was looking at one of the trees that had fallen at this other house that I was at, and it was just a giant maple that had split in half. And it was so sad. I was kind of just like grieving the tree, and all that. And then I looked over and saw this like peaceful deer curled up like over in the grass, and it was so sweet. And I was like, oh, everything's going to be okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
so
the other answer that I have to that too, llamas for a long time have been something I've said too. Llamas and alpacas. They're
llamas
sort of
and alpacas. Yeah.
I think I like alpacas.
They are really funny animals.
Yes, they are.
Yeah, we had that birthday party on the alpaca farm, right?
Yes, we did.
And
for my partner.
That was so fun and such a interesting and unique birthday party picnic, to be on the alpaca farm and hang with them.
It was so synchronicitous too, because of when we found out that existed, it was very close to when she was having her birthday.
So it was just lined up.
Just perfect. Yeah, it was a good time of year for it. It was just like, oh, we were going to do this anyway. We were going to visit at some point anyway.
And the vibe was so good there, like the woman that ran the place.
Oh, yeah,
and
exactly. That was totally something we checked out, made sure of.
I want to go back there for something. I don't know yet.
Yeah.
But okay, and the last question is, what's your favorite number? You can do this. You got this.
Are we doing single or multi-digit?
Could be either.
Okay.
No limits.
don't think I've ever thought of this question before.
Well,
Favorite
it's a number that comes. What's the first number that comes to mind that you like? That you like the sound of, or the way it looks, what it means?
I'm gonna be so stereotypical and jokester, stupid prankster with 69.
Oh, well, that's synchronistic because last night at World Pies, that was Yaman Pete's 69th birthday party.
Oh, fun.
That concert, yeah. So
Cool.
69.
69's I do like the way it looks.
The way it looks,
not
yeah.
even for the
Not for the other
Exactly.
connotations,
Not for
but
the other connotations.
the way
but
it looks is it's very like yin yang.
circular,
It's like yin
yeah,
yang kind
totally.
of. Yeah, it's nice.
I think zero is a really cool number too.
Oh, no one's. I wonder if anyone will say 0. That's a good one.
Yeah, the nothingness aspect of potential is
I think Haley's on the last podcast was 7, which I like. I like that one.
that
It's got a
popped
nice
into
sound.
my head for sure.
Yeah,
It's certainly like
7.
a culturally common number.
Sure. Yeah,
I think that's part of
it's
it.
a nice one.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, thanks for answering those simple but also loaded and complex questions.
Yeah.
That's
It's
what's so
interesting how
great
complex
about
they are. Yeah.
It's what's so great about them. Yeah, so I really appreciate hearing that on the Synchronicity podcast, which is a great podcast to check out if you ever get a chance. So this has been an absolute pleasure having you on here at Apple Core. We've been extending the ending, but now we're finally going to end it. And then we're also going to extend into the jam that we did on my birthday.
Yeah, get ready for the goofy jam, fun times.
If you're still with us this long, that's coming up next. Tune in for the jam that's up next and prepare to get silly. And it's going to be a creative experience.
Yeah, it's going to be it's going to have some big creative energy. We'll say that for sure. Okay. Cheerio, folks.
Much love.
Cool. Okay. Good. Okay. A little slower, a little faster. What do you think?
Could start out slow, maybe.
Go sleep, you weary hobo. Let the town drift slowly by. Listen to those steel rails humming. That's a hobo's lullaby. Have you ever been a hobo, Sean?
Once or twice.
How'd it go for you?
Wasn't bad.
What'd you do? Where'd you go?
Well, I caught a ship out to the Milky Way, and then I railed that train right on down the hay bale, and they ended up in North America. And then I found a train, took me to San Francisco, 1966. I appeared on the scene, I found the being, and I found my people. Then the next year rolled around, 1967. There was quite a lot going on in that neighborhood. Lots of people taking trips, lots of people taking new ways of thinking, I'd say. And then the TV cameras started pointing their attention this little neighborhood called Haight-Ashbury. And from then on, it changed. Because you see, back in 1966, we had the dance halls going strong. We had Janis Joplin, Jimi Hendrix, Big Brother and the Holding Company, Jefferson Airplane, Grateful Dead, and on and on. We had the San Francisco Sound. And we had a community of people that were searching for a new way to live, more in harmony with the planet, with each other. We found new perspectives that we've kept to this day.
What a fabulous hobo journey. Sean, have you ever been to outer space? You say that you came from such a place.
Many times before, and many times again.
Where do you like to visit?
I like to visit the restaurant at the edge of the universe. It's a fine place. They have good shows. Pretty much every night they got a new musician playing, or a band. It's a fine place to hang out with your friends.
What color's the wallpaper?
A color you've never seen before, and you'll never see again. Only specific to that moment, in time and place. Right here.
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 Yeah.
Oh my God. Right now is wallpaper color red.
Red wallpaper color.
Right now is red paper color. Oh, no, blue. Ah.
Blue now.
Oh, it's blue now. Oh. Okay, let's see. White. Oh, wow, white stars. Yay. The galaxy is wallpaper. Yay.
Now.
Here and now are tortillas, and I remember. Here and now are tortillas, and I remember. Well, I must be getting hungry, for I remember tortillas here and now. I must be getting hungry, 'cause I remember tortillas here and now. Remember tortillas.
Tortillas now.
Remember tortillas.
Tortillas now.
tortilla right now.
Here.
Here.
Oh, here.
Ah.
There.
Oh, what?
Now.
Here and a tortilla, here and a tortilla, here and a tortilla. Here and a tortilla, here and a tortilla, here and a tortilla. Here and a tortilla, here and a tortilla, here and a tortilla. Here and a tortilla, here and a tortilla. Remember tortilla. Remember tortilla. Remember tortilla. Oh, sorry, there's no later. It's okay. Forgiveness, the tortilla, the grand tortilla. Forgives. Yes, it does. Oh, yes, it does. And yes, it loves you too. It loves you. The tortilla loves you. Yes, it do. The tortilla, it love you. Yes, it do. The tortilla love you. Tortilla love. Tortilla love. Ah, tortilla love. Tortilla love. Ah, love. Tortilla love. Love. Tortilla love. Tortilla. Tortilla love. Oh, yes, indeed, the tortilla, the grand tortilla, does indeed.
Presenting the grand tortilla. Are you ready?
Presenting the. I am the grand tortilla, and I love you. Oh, would you like a different chord here? I love you. Oh dear, it's a little bit out of tune, but the grand tortilla sometimes is a little out of tune.
A little off kilter.
A little off kilter. He's a spunky little tortilla that's
spunky
delicious
little
and great and
lad.
wonderful.
Oh.
Oh, don't mind me, I'm just a tortilla.
But the question is, can you pass the tortilla test? Are you able
I'll do anything to pass the tortilla
the
test.
tortilla test?
What's the question one? What do I do?
You are here, now, there. That's how you pass.
I am.
That's how you pass. You get your diploma.
I am here, now, there. No, wait!
Ah, you almost got it.
I am the grand tortilla. He forgives.
All is forgiven by
Okay,
the
let me
grand
try again,
tortilla.
please. I think I'm ready. I can do it. I can do it. Wow, wow, yeah, wow, wow, wow. Yes, hit me with the question. It's the same question. Same question. Is it the same question?
Can you pass the tortilla test?
Here, now, there.
Good enough. And the balloons start falling from the ceiling because you are the winner.
Oh my god, how does it start? Old lang syne, my dear, old lang syne, dwelling the cup of righteousness for old lang syne.
Yes, I won!
Old lang syne.
Yes, I won!
Oh, you won! Well,
Please see fine print for details.
of righteousness for Thank you, Tom Waits.
Oh, such a beautiful job. Thank you. You definitely passed
good.
the tortilla
Oh,
test.
good. I'm so glad. It's here now. Oh, tortilla, I love it. Oh, I love me too. I can
It
tell.
loves you too.
Oh, I can tell. Oh.
Thank you for playing.
Oh.
Be sure to read the fine print for
Ooh.
details. Please see store for
Yes.
further details.
Oh, yes, details.
Please hire a
Wait,
lawyer to
There's
interpret
so
the
many
details.
The fine print says you owe me $5.
That is true.
I see it right here in the fine print.
That is
But
true.
it also says here that I also owe you $5
It
at the
also
same time.
says not valid in the state.
Oh, what? This
Yep.
entire thing?
Sorry.
All these details, they don't matter?
They just keep adding details on to the end, and then they pretty much you just don't get anything.
What the?
Yeah.
I don't get anything?
You don't
Do I
get
still
that.
get grand tortilla?
You do get the grand tortilla.
Yes, that's
you
all I
won.
wanted.
You
Yes.
won.
Okay,
You won.
good.
Okay.
Okay, just making sure. Yeah, I'm making sure that I got tortillas on my lifespan.
Tortillas, tortillas, tortillas on my lifespan. Tortilla forever, even if I'm old and grumpy. Yes, tortilla forever, even though I might be old and grumpy. I'm an old and grumpy tortilla, but I'm still a tortilla. Please respect me that way.
We respect you.
Oh, good. Oh, good. Oh,
Yay.
And now check under your seat because you've won a new tortilla.
Oh my gosh, it's a tortilla under my chair. I stirred the entire time. I couldn't believe it. Oh wow. Thank you, Oprah. I appreciate this tortilla. Oh, thank you, Oprah. Thank you. Oh, no, wait. Oh, it's from Grand Tortilla, isn't it? Grand Tortilla gave me tortilla? Or was it Oprah?
Please read the fine print about your new
geez,
tortilla. They're void or prohibited by law,
Oh my
not valid in all
Oh
50
my gosh,
states
oh gosh,
of consciousness.
Oh gosh, okay, let me
There
check
you
my
go, you
papers.
found it.
There we go.
That's the fine print right there.
Okay.
Okay. Have you read it? Okay. Send it to Chat GPA and they'll interpret it for you.
Okay.
What guitar?
This is a tortilla session, January 6, 2024, to be documented.
2024?
2024 on the spinning planet known as Earth.
That's a number.
Slightly off axis spinning, but spinning nonetheless.
2024 is such a small number,
2024.
isn't it? Think about that. Especially in comparison to like everything that's happened in the universe so far.
Start measured time.
We kind of, I guess. Is that what that really is? The start point of time measurement?
224 years after we had an event of the something.
Oh my gosh. 2024. That's especially in like
2020.
all the numbers in the universe that are things in general. 2024 is tiny.
Pretty tiny.
So tiny. We are so young. Oh, you're only 2024 years old? Oh dear. You're so young. You big baby. So
we only started counting then for some reason, and we're just not going to include the rest of the years in that number.
I mean, we sort of have a thing in the rest of the years, you know.
Yeah, go negative, yeah.
BC.
BC.
E. Sometimes.
B. B, then C.
BCE.
BCE.
Oddities in the BCE.
Big creative energies.
Ooh, yeah.
BCE. Big creative energies.
Welcome to BCE.
Primordial
Big creative
energy.
energies.
Primordial creative energy.
Primordial creative energies.
BCE.
BCE.
That's the new metal band. BCE. BCE.
Yeah, I love BCE. Play that one song that goes like dun 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 dun. Yeah, that was it. That was great.
Okay.
What would the music sound like in year 2024 BC?
Ooh, going backward.
Going backwards.
Backing on up.
People are still figuring out their equipment. These tools are perhaps new to some, but they're new to everyone the first time, even in this modern era. But soon, the man of the century has a beat, a groove, a funk, a rhythm, a drive. He's getting more creative with his instruments as well. Take a look at this skin over a big cone. How wonderful. He's mastering his tones. He's putting his fingers on the drum. He's making it happen. He's doing it. He's using his big creative energy of the century, of the millennia, of the time. But wait. Do you see that? It's a man. It's a man. And he has crayons. Crayons? You've never seen these before. They're colorful. They feel kind of interesting in your hands. Maybe slightly fragile, but not without some grip. And the crayon starts flying on the air before you. Flying on its own. You're amazed. And all of a sudden it scrapes itself against a piece of bark. And wow. Look at that color. That line. And then the idea comes. What if you did that? Would you hurt it? Would you make it bleed? Would you sacrifice it to the gods that you know of that day? Maybe. But in the process, you'd be utilizing big creative energy.
Big creative energy.
Big creative energy is sponsored by crayons.
Big creative energy is sponsored by the eschaton at the end of time, the transcendental object.
And now welcome back to Big Creative Energy!
Big creative energy.
I am your guest host, Big. And my guest host over here.
Creative.
Now let's bring in our special guest
Oh,
today.
special guest. Who is it?
Mr. and Mrs. and Ms. and
They.
Energy.
Energy. Well, welcome to our show, Big Energy. We would like to have you here on this. It's kind of a talk show format. If you want to have a seat, I don't know if you'll fit in that chair. You can just kind of sink into it. Yeah, just make yourself at home. So Big Energy, what's it like being so old? Now,
Excuse me, sorry, I had to fine-tune my energy for a second there.
Sure. What do you think about human beings and the collective of humanity and where it's going?
They are of lots of energy.
Do you think that they'll make it?
Make it? What is it? What?
Do you think that they'll make it beautiful?
What's that?
Make the planet beautiful.
Oh, no,
again,
okay, the
like
planet.
it was, before the thing happened.
It's totally, it'll always be different, but at the same time, it's going to make sure that you just make the humans are the energy is the direction is good. They're all up to them, and they have some great potential. I think, but they just need to direct their forces in the right way. If you understand what I mean.
Were you at Woodstock?
Oh, totally, yeah. I was out there the entire time. Great.
Figures. Any insights you took away from that experience at Woodstock?
There was something about brown bottles. It was a little holy.
Brown bottles.
That's also the something about. I know I've been inside the electric guitars for a long time. It was really good to actually put it out into this huge energy field that was like all these people. It's like, oh, cool! I've never been like in a crowd of people like this big before.
That's fascinating. Were you also at Monterey Pop Festival in 1967?
I'm fucking everywhere. I'm fucking everywhere. It's great. Yes,
I figured you might be there.
I had to admit, I'm sorry about all that happened with that. It was fucking disaster at the end there. I'm sorry. That's how it is sometimes. Things just are destructions form of creation. You know what I mean? Yeah.
So it all comes back to the now and the polarities.
Yeah, something like that.
Well, thanks so much for being here, Big Energy. We need to get back to our regularly scheduled music program, but
Hold on, man. Get so much out of me.
we really appreciate you coming through, and thanks for not setting the place on fire with your lightning strikes.
Yeah, sorry about that again earlier. It was finally tuning that energy.
Yeah, you gotta get that worked out of your system.
Yeah, you're not gonna do so unless
Yeah,
I can only do it for like so long too.
Exactly,
Because
yeah.
I have to like read all the time because it's like here now, here now, here now, here now,
there,
here now,
there,
here
there,
now,
there,
blah, blah,
there.
blah,
Yeah,
blah,
and
blah.
there, here now. Thanks so much for being with us. Up next, we've got an evening with Bob Ross. Bob Ross.
Blah, blah, blah.
And then following that, we've got Pretty Colors on your screen.
We're back now at Big Creative Energy.
Big Creative Energy, streaming live to recording on a laptop. And
Lee loved doing that. Recording to laptop. Oh, laptop. Thank you, laptop. Everyone, a round of applause, please, for laptop. Oh, yes, laptop.
The
Laptop is great.
great.
Thank you.
And
Yes, and
so now we open the Fabergé egg from Terence McKenna's Transcendental Object in the End of Time, and inside we have a crystal and we have a ticket that says Admit Oneness. Admit Oneness.
I'm allowed inside oneness. I'm allowed inside oneness. I got that ticket in my hand for oneness, baby.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Do you have your ticket ready? I wanna punch a hole in it.
Ticket alright.
Making sure it's validated, making sure it's validated. Hey there, do you have a ticket? Let me put a hole in it. Good, now your ticket has a hole in it. Now you can go inside oneness. What's inside oneness? Well, you're gonna have to find out by going inside a oneness.
You'll see. Oneness.
One is like this. It's like one. It's like this. There's only one, and there's some this. And that's all you really need to know. So long as you know what one and this are,
Here, now.
But if you don't worry, you're already part of the oneness. Yes, you're part of the oneness. Did you know inside your pocket and under your seat, between your ears and between your teeth, there's oneness. You're already inside. We gave you a ticket, it was kind of a trick. You didn't actually need the ticket. Don't you worry, it just reminds you to do it. Cause you're always doing it, don't you worry. It's just the way it's gonna be to see it.
It's a free concert from now on. I'd say it's free.
This entire life to you can come to you for free! Yes, it's the only surefire free thing that's happened to you so far. The question though is if you will remain free. Will there be things that go inside? Will there be things that are outside that hold you back, that hold you back, that hold you back for what you're trying to do with your existence on this planet?
You-hoo. You-hoo.
Who is that?
You-hoo at the door.
I go to the door, I turn the knob, I open the door, and who do I find?
It's you.
Whoa, it's me. Do we both say that at the same time?
There's only one here. It's you and
Oh,
me
oh,
and all of us.
oh,
Admit it. Admit the oneness.
I admit that there was indeed an instance of oneness. Wow, that was a great oneness thing.
It's
I just love that.
It's a oneness moment brought to you in part by
Big creative energy.
Big Creative Energy. Coming to your town, 2024, Big Creative Energy.
Big creative energy. You and me, we go to free. Big creative energy. Ba-dum-boom, ba-dum-bum-bum.
Follow Big Creative Energy on Instagram. Don't follow on Facebook. No, actually, don't follow Big Creative Energy on Facebook or Instagram or any of them. And follow
us
it
in person.
in person, in your own heart.
Only follow it here and now, where you are.
Here and now, there.
Here and now, there.
Here and now, there.
Here and now, there.
You're listening to some people making a podcast. If you'd like to support this podcast, please visit bonbonsnook.com. Buy yourself a tortilla mix. Cassava tortilla mix. Cassava tortilla magic mix. Make your own at home. Have your own tortilla party. All you need is a tortilla press. Press out your tortillas, cook them up, save them for later, eat them now, make them into tacos. They're great with butter. They're great with vegan butter. They're great with peanut butter. They're also great for dessert with some cinnamon, with some toppings. The list goes on, folks. Make your own tortillas at home. Gluten-free, grain-free. The way to be. Bonbons Nook Cassava Magic Mix. Available at bonbonsnook.com. This is actually a real ad, even though it sounds like it's not. But it is. And it's my birthday, so I can do an ad on my own podcast. I think that's fair.
Please remember to tell them that there are...
Please remember.
Please remember to tell them that there are gluten-free options available.
There are gluten-free options available.
If you're inclined to needing such options, don't worry. The tortilla does not discriminate.
The tortilla does not discriminate across any lines of division that
We
you
have
might perceive.
gluten-free options. We have inclusive options.
Inclusive, gluten-free options, grain-free, sugar-free,
We
the
have
way to be.
We even have options for those who want to be divisive.
We have divisive tortilla options available now, upon demand.
If
Not popular demand, but
if
demand.
division is what it is that you crave to unify with,
You can definitely unify with division through our division-friendly tortillas.
That's right. Turn oneness, somehow, magically, with your own stupid monkey brain, into two-ness.
You can take that oneness, split it into two, and then forget about half of it and not be able to see it for years and years until you have a transformative experience that pops you out of that division, and then you realize the whole and the one again.
And then, whoa, it's your choice whether or not you want to live in which one.
And you get to choose.
Can you do
every
both? Can you do
single
both? Can you do
moment.
both?
You choose every single moment.
New divisive tortillas at a store just like 3 steps that way.
At a store just out of reach. Near you. Down your street.
Oh, wow.
Don't worry,
How
we'll have the
convenient.
drones bring you your tortilla mix.
Oh, good. Someone
No, that really changes the vibe. Don't bring my tortilla mix with the freaking drone, please.
Do you don't want tortillas on the move?
Well, I mean, I love tortillas on the move, but the drones are just kind of creepy.
What if you made them like really beautiful without cameras?
Sure.
What if you like,
And they're playing
I think
music,
yeah, great.
like good music.
But like it
Not pop
detects. Well, here's what I was thinking. It detects whatever the recipient of the tortilla's music taste is like, and then plays accordingly.
Oh, okay.
So it's just like it's already sort of catered in that way.
Yeah,
it just
I like
knows
that.
you. So it's like, oh, it's good music. And
I
it's
like
it's
that.
because that's a
It's
subjective.
just pulling your Spotify feed. This is connected with.
Or it just without being too invasive, just knows. It's like it just needs to know that one nice thing, and so it plucks it out, and that's all it does. It doesn't observe anything else.
I would love to receive my
do anything else
tortilla
with it.
mix through the air with an amazing song that I love playing because it knows me so well.
Yes.
Delivery service.
It's like, oh look, my drone with the curated mix that was cherry picked from my brain now delivering tortillas to my doorstep. Thanks, tortilla, Grand Tortilla. You're the best.
I think we're onto something here. Now, back to the music.
Oh, do you want to do another harmonica one?
Oh, if you like, yes.
Sure. What key?
Just pick one.
A again?
A again.
How about G?
G, he says.
Let's change it up.
You know what this is? If I didn't care, what happened to you? And you didn't care. For me too. Zigzag away through the boredom and pain, occasionally glancing up through the rain, wondering which of the buggers to blame. Watching for pigs on the way.
Thank you for tuning into Big Creative Energy. We indeed had some big creative energy. Everybody, Sean's birthday, January 6, 2024 AD.
Thank you so
Here
much,
and
guys.
now.
Really appreciate it.
My name is Applecore,
I also go by Orange Peel.
and this has been Big Creative Energy.
Thanks for
Big birthday creative energy.
Yes.
Pew, 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 pew.
Thank you so much for being here, Julian. This has been an incredible way to spend part of my birthday. Really appreciate you so much. Thank you again.
Very welcome.
And now to make pizza.
Pizza on a tortilla.